with the Consumer Price Index, the Hancock Amendment, and our ability is just, it's statutory.
At this point, are there questions and comments from the audience on this issue? Yes, come on. I'm sorry, sir, can you come forward to the podium and state your name, please? And
Andrew Strauss. I was wondering, is there a way to put the formulas up there so we can see them instead of just saying the formula so we can actually visualize it?
I'm wondering
Not
if
just
there's some
words?
computer, Ms. Brennan, are the? Okay, we're having some difficulties with that tonight, apparently.
Okay, how do I get a copy of the formula so I can view it?
You know, so actually,
It's probably available on the Missouri
it's,
website.
yes, it's a Missouri,
It's a state.
I found some information on it from the State Tax Commission. If you go online, the property reassessment and taxation issues, it's a state website. I'm sorry, I don't have the,
The tax commission has a very good brochure on there.
Yeah.
That breaks it all down. It takes the assessed values and tells you what percentages there are and
Okay.
how it works into the formula. It's pretty clear.
so Googling the State Tax Commission
Yeah.
is just simply going there. Yeah, I actually have that brochure right here. It's like 14 pages. It is very informative.
Okay, and the formula's in there, okay.
Yeah, so,
All right, thank you.
anyone else in the audience? Yes, yes.
Hi guys, it's been a while. How's everybody doing? I'm Lisa Green, and I'm having trouble getting my house back. I haven't gave up, 1218 College Street. And this health fund is interesting, and it's getting its fund through nuisance. Is that what we're hearing? What is that about?
Okay, Ms. Mills, would you mind diving into that a little bit more?
So the tax levy that's assessed on real estate and personal property tax, when it comes to the city, it is split into two funds.
General.
It goes to the general
General.
and it goes to the health fund. Yes. So the general fund, we all know what the general fund does. It's the general revenue fund for the city. And then the health fund is another fund that supports the nuisance. That's the largest expenditure in that fund, is the nuisance abatement within the city, another city service.
And when you say nuisance, is that trying to stop people from exercising their liberty for
No,
civil
ma'am.
rights?
No, ma'am.
For
No.
self-being
Not at all.
employed?
It's
Are you
dealing with
sure?
nuisance
Because-
issues such as weeds and,
Right, or excess stuff in their yard, so they can recycle, repurpose, restore. Yes, that can intrude on civil liberties and civil rights
Okay.
being, and then they steal your property because of that reason.
Ms. Green.
And then statutes for the health, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be Missouri correlation of health. It's statutes, RSMO, revised statutes, like
okay.
103.059. Might be a good place to
Okay.
start.
Thank you, Ms. Green. Appreciate it. Thank you.
And Hancock, what is that? Is that when they can tax a little bit and then once it's over, it needs to stop? Is that correct? Does anybody have any reasoning for that, the Hancock law?
Thank you. There was another,
Is that where
we'll
it's
let,
at?
yeah, if you could let Ms. Mills have the podium and she
And
can.
then, I got another quick question. The assessor's value in Cape County, is that using the approved assessors or like the JD? I forgot who's technically supposed to be in charge of that, JD something, or are they using their own person that they could be sued for doing that,
Okay, thank you. Good questions.
right?
Yes, we can answer those. Ms. Green, would you mind taking your seat, please? Thank you.
So with regard to the assessor is an official of the county, and so the assessor works under their own official rules and regulations. So for me to speak to that would not be appropriate. They have rules and regulations that they use in order to assess the valuation of the personal property and the real estate in the city.
It's a Cape County position.
It's a
Right.
Cape County, absolutely. It's the county of Cape Girardeau, which is where we all reside as members of the city of Cape Girardeau, or residents of the city of Cape Girardeau. So the assessor's there. The Missouri Constitution and section that we're quoting here, that we use, is section 137.073 RSMO. It is section 137.073.
Ms. Green, Ms. Green,
It's
if you
available.
could let Ms. Mills
Yeah,
finish.
the Missouri Constitution and section is stated in the agenda report, so it's available online if you need to write that, find it and look it up on, but that is the 137.073, it's available online. Okay? And that's the one that we use for doing our tax levy.
Ms. Green,
This-
you're interrupting the speaker. If we could let Ms. Mills finish her statement, that.
It is section 22 of the Missouri Constitution and section 137.073 RSMO.
And we can get that information to you after the meeting. Yeah.
So that's available.
Okay.
Okay, and I forgot.
The Hancock Amendment, there were several
Oh,
questions.
so the Hancock Amendment is something that's been around forever. Somebody can tell me what the year is, but it's something we all respect. There are limits to what we can do with taxes and levies. This piece of the Hancock Amendment is part of the formulation that the statute uses in order to allow or help us assess the property tax levies. But the levies are assessed not by the city, but by that state statute.
Right. Okay.
We enforce them.
Right. Is there anyone else from the audience who wishes to comment? Okay. Well, council, we have Bill number 23-114 before us. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Mr. Presson, Mr. Guard, any discussion?
Yeah, I'd just like to point out for the public that Cape Girardeau has very low property tax rates. If you look at a number of the other cities in southeast Missouri, they have considerably higher property tax rates. Cape Girardeau's are among the lowest in the region, so just wanted to point that out.
Thank you. Any other comments from council? No? All right. Hearing none then. All in favor of Bill 23-114, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries. Next, we have Bill 23-115, an ordinance annexing land located at 2797 Benton Hill Road into the city limits of the City of Cape Girardeau, Missouri. It's the first reading. Mr. Shrimplin.
Good evening. So this bill, along with the next two bills, I'll relate to an annexation of a property on Benton Hill Road. So this one is for the actual annexation.
Okay. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to comment? Yes.
Hi, Elaine Edgar. I wanted to ask, what is it going to cost the city to annex this property in? Because I believe it's surrounded, all the properties surrounding it is not annexed into the city.
They are in the city.
Well, so the property in front of it,
I'll show you the map here.
okay, so this adjoins property that is annexed? Okay, so maybe that's been annexed.
This is the only one that's not over here and here, but all these are all in this.
Okay,
So it is adjacent
These two are
to,
not.
so there is one property that does adjoin it.
Mhm.
Okay, I guess that's.
Yeah, in the back, I guess, also is not. But these
it-
are all in the city limits.
Okay, okay, thank you.
thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience who wishes to comment? All right. Council, we have Bill 23-115 before us. Is there a motion to approve?
So, second.
Mr. Bliss, Mr. Presson, any further discussion? All in favor then of Bill 23-115, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? That motion carries. And we have several more pertaining to this. Bill 23-116, an ordinance amending Chapter 30 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Cape Girardeau, Missouri by zoning newly annexed property located at 2797 Benton Hill Road as R1, Single Family Suburban Residential District. This is the first reading. Mr. Shrimplin.
So when a property is annexed, it has to be zoned into a city zoning district. So the Planning Zoning Commission is recommending R1, single-family suburban residential for this property. All the adjacent properties that are in the city limits are zoned R1, and they're all single-family residential properties. So the logical choice.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to comment? All right, seeing none. Council, is there a motion to approve Bill 23-116?
Second.
Mr. Guard, Mr. Presson, any further discussion? Hearing none, then all in favor of Bill 23-116, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries. And Bill 23-117, an ordinance extending the boundaries of Ward 6 to include property newly annexed into the city limits of the City of Cape Girardeau, Missouri. First reading.
Okay, and this one's just to bring it into Mark's ward.
Natural conclusion of any discussion from the audience? Anyone wishing to comment? Okay, council, is there a motion to approve Bill 23-117? Mr. Guard?
Second.
Ms. Truxel, thank you. Any further discussion? All right, congratulations, Mr. Bliss. We're good. All in favor then of Bill 23-117, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries. Bill 23-118, an ordinance amending Chapter 30 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Cape Girardeau, Missouri by changing the zoning of property located at 97 North Kings Highway in the city and county of Cape Girardeau, Missouri, from M1 to C2. This is the first reading. Mr. Shrimplin.
So this property is at the northwest corner of Kings Highway and Independence Street. It's known as Crossroads Plaza. It's a shopping center, but it's zoned M1 light industrial. The C2 is the better fit for the property. We received a business license application for a new tenant, and that type of use is not permitted in M1. So I had a discussion with the property owner about rezoning to C2, which would allow pretty much any type of tenant that shopping center would ever expect to have. He was on board with that, so he filed the rezoning application. So that's what he's requesting.
Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to comment? All right, seeing none, then council, is there a motion to approve Bill 23-118?
So moved.
Mr. Thomas, Ms. Randle, any further discussion? Is this, could you classify this as just making a more appropriate zoning for this property?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. All those in favor then of Bill 23-118, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries. And lastly, we have Bill 23-119, an ordinance accepting permanent easements from the Mary Ann and Bert J. Kellerman Foundation for property located at 401 Independence Street in the city of Cape Girardeau, Missouri. First reading. Mr. Pulley.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, Dr. Haskin. Yep, this is the last ordinance tonight. This is from the sale of the old City Hall. This ordinance is we are going to accept 5 permanent easements from Mary Ann and Bert Kellerman for the old City Hall. This staff recommends to accept the easements.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to comment? Seeing none then, council, is there a motion to, I'm sorry? Yes, please. Can you come forward, please?
What is a permanent easement for that City Hall?
Okay, thank you. Mr. Pulley?
This allows city employees to either dig or replace sewer lines, water lines, fiber, or anything that may need repair along this property.
Okay, thank you.
Is it gonna be used for something?
The easement?
No, the building, City Hall. Is there a reason why you want to do all this fixing up?
It's been purchased by a private entity, that old building,
It
and
was purchased with it was a city place that taxpayers paid to get that built, right?
yes, and then the city was paid for that building.
Shouldn't that be used for the city, people of the city instead of being sold to a private individual? I mean,
Well, the
there's
building, thank you, Ms. Green, thank you.
There's all kinds of wrongs right here.
Ma'am, if you have questions, I'll talk to you afterwards about it.
No, I like to talk now. You're bringing it to everybody's attention,
Thank-
so. I'm
You asked a
here.
question, and
Yeah.
we'd like to answer it. If you please, thank you. You can sit.
Well, I want to know, can this be right if the property's bought by the taxpayers,
Yes.
for the taxpayers, for the city? How can a private individual come in, swoop that and buy it? Why can't that be used for programs to make people stronger as a community? Why should a private individual benefit off of that? That's a
Okay.
good question. That's a good word, benefit,
Thank you.
isn't it? Key word.
We're
But
gonna answer the question if you take a seat,
But
please.
I think it should be used, shouldn't be used for a private individual to buy that. It should be used to build up the city.
Thank you. Mr. Pulley, you have any further comment?
No, I don't have any, ma'am.
Okay.
Mayor, thank you.
All right. Anyone else in the audience wishing to comment? All right. Council, is there a motion to approve Bill 23-119?
So moved.
Mr.
Second.
Guard, Ms. Randle? Any further discussion? All in favor then of Bill 23-119, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries. We had one appointment tonight for the Historic Preservation Commission. Council, Megan Tyson was selected for that position out of the applicants. Is there a motion to approve Megan Tyson's appointment?
Second.
Mr. Bliss, Ms. Randle, any further discussion? All those in favor then of appointing Megan Tyson to the Historic Preservation Commission, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. We had under other business, we had 2 people register to speak tonight. Again, I'll remind you all that if you're choosing to speak, you have up to 3 minutes to share something with the council that is not on tonight's agenda. First, we had Mr. David Atkins. If you would, please come on forward.
Hi, I'm David Atkins, East Cape Rock Drive. I know that some people in attendance, maybe even, still consider the Broadway Theater rehab as a waste of funds. But I wanted to point out that this project isn't just having an effect on the look of Broadway. If anybody has driven by, it looks great, and is looking better every day. But it is also a preservation of one of Cape's landmarks. The preservations project, I noticed in July 21st that the local newspaper, Southeast Missourian, had an article about the presentation of the screen from the theater to the historic Rogers Theater in Poplar Bluff, which I thought was pretty cool, that a screen that wasn't going to be used, that was still in good condition, is being passed from one historic preservation group to another. So, about a month ago, just a little different, I was pulled up to the intersection at Farrar Drive and William Street, out by the interstate. It's an area there where it's very crowded, it's very busy, and there are 3 sets of stoplights. Actually, there's more than that, but in that direct area, there was an SUV, a very large SUV, lying on its side right at the intersection, and I thought, that was not a slow motion accident. You have to be traveling pretty fast to knock over a good-sized SUV in an area where 2 blocks in front of you and 2 blocks behind you, you have another controlled intersection. Road rage, like homemade bread, it tends to rise when the heat increases. We're seeing more and more violations of traffic laws, saying nothing about common courtesy between drivers and people. It's sad to say that the majority of these drivers appear to have more ego than IQ. On Big Bend Road, a few weeks ago, I was passed by a motorist on a motorcycle. Number 1, he was passing in a no passing zone. Number 2, he exceeded the speed limit to pass. Number 3, since there was oncoming traffic, he passed on my right side into a parking zone, nearly hitting a parked vehicle. When I applied my horn to protest his stupidity, he showed me his IQ. He waved it at me. His IQ was 1. Here are some basic common sense suggestions to remember. Number 1, the posted speed limit, no matter where it is, in town, out of town, the posted speed limit is the maximum speed limit allowed for safety reasons and for many others. It is not a requirement that we drive at or above that speed limit. Number 2, that stoplight that you're coming up on that's yellow and you really just can't afford to take the time to stop for it may cost you thousands of dollars several days in the hospital or more, when the person who's waiting on it decides to get the first jump. Courtesy to other drivers, no matter what you're driving, four wheels, three wheels, two wheels, maybe even one. Courtesy to other drivers and pedestrians is essential in our community. And I appreciate you taking the time. May Yahweh give us a good week. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Atkins. Lastly, we have Ms. Cynthia Durgan.
My name's Cynthia Durgan. I'm at 2824 Oakshire Circle, Cape Girardeau, and I am speaking for Street Level Cape Girardeau. We are an organization for aid and advocacy for people trying to survive homelessness in a city with no shelter, in a city that makes it illegal to sleep on public property. I remind you that if you can't sleep, you can't live. So essentially the city makes it illegal for homeless people to be alive, a situation which we regard as morally reprehensible. And, you know, I've never used this word in the last year that I've periodically addressed you, but I'm going to say just plain stupid. It makes no sense to make it illegal for residents of a city over which you have leadership to be alive. And that's what you're doing by perpetuating this ordinance with no alternative. I appeal to you again. Establish a legal, permitted, orderly, sanitary camping area. The city has over 600 acres of public park. If you're worried about being a mess, Street Level has many examples of camps that have been set up in an orderly manner with so-called fishing huts for tents, which are big enough for people to keep their stuff inside and insulated enough that people can spend the winter in them without freezing. Other cities smaller, half the size of Cape, have addressed homelessness in a responsible manner. Whereas the leadership of Cape for the past 20, 25 years has behaved as if homelessness were just a problem for the charities, or worse yet, just a problem of homeless people themselves. Or worse yet, a problem for people who don't like to see them. It is not a blot on the city for some people to be too poor or too mentally ill to house themselves. It is a moral blot on this city's leadership that you do not get it together and face the fact that there is a housing crisis. Poor people are in competition with poorer people for homes, and homeless people are hiding where they can be robbed, injured, raped, and the city looks the other way.
Thank you, Ms. Durgan, for your time.
That's true, that is sad. You know,
Ms. Green, no, you're out of order. If you would please sit down and,
I have freedom of speech. and I will
not
address
right
that
now in this
problem.
meeting. No, ma'am.
No, are you trying to say you're above the Constitution
No,
of the United
Ms. Green.
States of America?
No, this is
what I'm trying to
inappropriate.
say right now.
We have
We
rules
need to
about
address
speaking.
that.
Please please take a seat.
And Habitat for
Please take a
Humanity
seat. Thank
is
you.
getting
Council, that is
no,
the,
that's-
Ms. Green,
that's the
please have
problem
a
right
seat or
there.
you need to
They
leave.
are getting the funding for housing the homeless. When
Okay.
they're putting people,
Ms.
they
Green?
are causing the homeless.
Council, we have nothing more on our agenda. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Mr. Guard, Mr. Presson, any further discussion? All right, hearing none. Is there a motion, or excuse me, all those in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you all for attending.